All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So there's pretty big news in the world of professional wrestling today as Hulk Hogan made his return to the WWE at the WWE pay-per-view event Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia today, actually. And this would be Hulk Hogan's first appearance in a WWE ring since 2015, back when he had the kind of racist scandal with the N-word and the sex tape and all that stuff. And he hadn't been back to the WWE since he was fired back then. And it's a pretty controversial return at that, because a lot of people, specifically backstage at the WWE, other wrestlers, weren't really very receptive or inviting to letting him come back after the whole racist scandal that he had. But the other interesting thing about his controversial return is that the pay-per-view in which it happened was also a controversial pay-per-view. Now, you guys might remember in the news recently, there was that journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, who was murdered in the Saudi Arabian consulate. So politically, there's a little bit of tension, or a lot of tension, between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia right now. And this Crown Jewel pay-per-view was held in Saudi Arabia. And a couple prominent wrestlers pulled out, including John Cena, allegedly because of this controversy. Because even though the officials at the consulate called the murder of this journalist a rogue operation, there's a lot of speculation that this was kind of an inside job done, by the Saudi regime, because this journalist in particular was very, very critical of the current Saudi regime during his journalistic career. He wasn't very well liked by the Saudi regime. And there were a lot of conflicting stories that came out after this guy disappeared. Initially, the Saudi Arabian official said that he left the consulate alive. And then after further scrutiny on the situation, the Saudi Arabian officials finally admitted that he did die inside of the consulate in some sort of fight or altercation. So the man who leads the Saudi regime is the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Now, the interesting thing about this is the guy that is directly responsible for the WWE being within Saudi Arabia. He's responsible for this ongoing relationship where the WWE will now host their pay-per-views in Saudi Arabia. And theoretically, if this murder was an inside job, it would have been something that Mohammed bin Salman was responsible for. And in the promos that WWE has done for this Crown Jewel pay-per-view, they talk about how the situation in Saudi Arabia has improved with this new regime, and they kind of co-sign the reign of Mohammed bin Salman. So I found it interesting that this was the time, and this was the pay-per-view, which was already very, very controversial, very politically charged, that this would be where they made Hulk Hogan return to the WWE, an already very controversial return, no matter where he would have made that return. But they chose arguably the most controversial pay-per-view in a very long time to have one of the most controversial comebacks in a very long time. Now, Hulk Hogan's return was more of the role of kind of a host and cutting a promo at this show, and not so much as a wrestler. And keep in mind, Hulk Hogan is 65 years old, so only time will tell if he's going to make an actual comeback to the ring as a performing capacity, because I think that would be kind of far-fetched at this point at 65 years old for him to make some kind of title run. So personally, I don't really know how I feel about Hulk Hogan being back. I mean, as a kid, he was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, but at the same time, the controversy of him saying the N-word, it was pretty bad, and it was pretty undeniable that it was pretty racist. But he did go on a very apologetic kind of tour, apologizing, doing social work, trying to make it up to the fans what he had done. And he does seem genuinely regretful and apologetic for what he said and what he did. So maybe he is sorry, and maybe he's not a racist. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think it was a wise move that the WWE allowed Hulk Hogan to return? And specifically, do you think it was a wise move to let him return at this Crown Jewel pay-per-view? Thank you guys for watching the video, and please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.